for natural healing. So we're going to wait just a few minutes, see if anybody jumps on and joins us. If you do happen to be on and want to stay with us, please give a shout out. Let me know that you're here. Let me know that you can hear me okay. Would love to hear where you're connecting from. So we are in the Chicagoland area, a little bit brisk and cold this evening. So we'll wait a few minutes and see if anybody is joining us. Otherwise, we will begin very shortly. So waiting a few more minutes. So hopefully everybody is enjoying this evening. It's Wednesday. Half of your work week is over with. So a couple more days till the weekend. Don't know what plans you guys have. If you guys have any plans for the weekend, that would be, fun. You might want to share. We're going to be at, there is a holistic event in Kankakee this weekend at Kankakee County Fairgrounds, I believe. And we're going to be there on Saturday and Sunday, yes, for Super Bowl. So don't know if anybody how that's going to turn out. Saturday, I'm expecting it to be a good turnout, but it is Super Bowl Sunday. Not sure how that's going to turn out. So it'll be interesting to see, but there's going to be a whole bunch of holistic vendors there. We're going to be there. We're going to be doing mini health scans using muscle testing. So if you guys are in the area and want to join, would love to see you guys. And we're going to kind of begin, I think. So we're going to be talking about mercury fillings, mental health, and migraines. All right. So I am in the process of getting my last set of my mercury amalgams removed. I had 4 left. Now I only have 1. So hopefully next month I'm getting my last one removed. The last time I got them removed was several years ago. And this time it's going much smoother, and I'll share a little bit of my experience with you on that. Last time, not so much. That wasn't exactly fun. So why would you want to consider getting your mercury amalgams removed? Well, mercury is definitely a known neurotoxin, and any small amount of exposure is very dangerous. CDC does not recommend any small safe level of mercury. There is no safe level. Small amounts are very neurotoxic. And however, back in the day, and I think more and more people are starting to wake up and be more open-minded to this. But mercury amalgams is mercury, and not only do you have mercury, but you have other things like aluminum and silver and some other heavy metals in those silver fillings. And dentists, use them, and a lot of other dentists did not. And that's where quackery came from. Um, you were told if you were a quack, and somehow it got changed to holistic dentistry and holistic health that you were a quack. But I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not 100% one on this, but I believe, dentists who used mercury at the time were actually considered quacks. And then it got reversed to holistic health and holistic dentists. And it is now, people are now aware that you actually give off mercury vapors in your mouth constantly if you have mercury fillings, because at a certain temperature, which I don't know if it's 94 degrees, 95 degrees, it doesn't matter. Our mouth is over that amount because you're at a constant 96, 97, 97.8, you know, constantly. So you are above that temperature and you are constantly giving off mercury vapors. Okay. What does that mean? You're constantly poisoning your body. Slowly but surely, you're constantly poisoning your body. And they gave a good video analysis of this. I actually think it was Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz actually had a video on this, and it measured, what happens even when you brush your teeth, that you can actually give off mercury vapors just from brushing your teeth as well. Um, and mercury has been known to cause things like mental mental disorders such as anxiety, depression, hallucinations. So, like schizophrenia type symptoms. It has an affinity to fatty tissue. So your brain is mostly made up of fat. It can get readily absorbed into joint tissue, okay, cartilage. And what that can do is actually cause a lot of joint pain and inflammation. So people with, arthritic type symptoms, it actually can be mercury poisoning. My dog actually experienced that. So I had a Rottweiler puppy. She's now passed, but I had a Rottweiler puppy at the time, and I was just getting into more holistic health, and I was getting more into species appropriate diet. So species appropriate diet is what should that particular animal be eating? And dogs and cats should be actually eating raw meat. If they were in the wild, they are going to eat and they are going to hunt. Dogs might be a little bit more scavengers and stuff like that, but for the most part, they will hunt, they will go find food. And in fact, their digestive system is not that far off. I think it's only like a 10% difference from a wolf's digestive system, or maybe it's a 0.10%, like point 0.1. I forget which, but it's very similar to a wolf's digestive system. They are supposed to eat meat, not kibbled food. And anybody who wants to disagree, you can actually look up what's called Pottinger's cats. Okay, so and I'm not here for debate on like diet, at least not this video. So I was just getting into learning that kibble is not really good for your pets and that they should be eating raw meat. Now, I still didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was still just kind of fumbling around my way through it. And if anybody who wants to know more, now that I talked about it, Dr. Karen Becker has a cookbook, um, and recipes to make for your pets. But they sell some things over at Petco, PetSmart. There's a lot of different raw food diets out there. Steve's Bites is really or no, Steve's Raw, sorry, Steve's Bites is a restaurant on the corner. Steve's Raw Food is a pretty good brand. I think Stella and Chewy's now has raw food. There's a ton of decent companies out there. But anyway, so I was getting into that and I didn't know what I was doing and I was feeding my dog raw fish. And you think raw fish is good because it's got essential fatty acids, it's got fish oil, especially if you leave the skin on and stuff like that. So you're thinking you're doing something really good for your dog. My Rottweiler puppy, at the time I had adopted her, and she was my happy-go-lucky puppy, and she started coming up lame. She was limping a lot. Now, at the time, I wasn't really fully 100% into muscle testing or holistic health. I was getting I believed in acupuncture, I believed in chiropractic because that was more hands-on. It made sense to me. But this quote unquote muscle testing nonsense at the time didn't really fully I didn't get it. So I was exposed to it, wasn't really 100% sure about it. Kind of still thought it was a little bit of wackadoo stuff, I will be honest. But my one vet just got certified in muscle testing in a technique called nutrition response testing. And she was helping my other pets, and I was starting to believe it because I was starting to see results. So, still skeptical, but now starting to slightly believe what I'm seeing and the results that I'm seeing. So, because the chiropractor could not get my puppies to not limp, and acupuncture was not helping, and so that vet, who was my other vet's associate, decided to do x-rays. And because Rottweilers are known to have elbow and hip dysplasia, so we did x-rays, full-blown body x-rays to find out why she was limping. And can you imagine? Nothing came up. There was no reason why she was limping. Her joints looked really good. There was no, nothing was out of balance. Everything was in in its socket, hip socket, and everything else was in place. So there was no reason. I'm sure all of you guys have had that. Your labs look normal, right? Your x-rays look normal. Don't know why you have this pain, don't know why you have these symptoms. Everything looks normal. Here, I have something for your pain or have this or whatever. You guys have been there, done that, right? Well, my puppy was been there and done that. So she was limping and her x-rays were good. Acupuncture was not helping. Chiropractic was not helping. So then I looked to my quote unquote voodoo vet who was doing muscle testing, my other one, the colleague. So because there was about 3 or 4 vets in the office. So one did acupuncture, chiropractic, and traditional veterinarian. The other one did traditional veterinarian and muscle testing. So I turned to the muscle testing vet and I said, okay, can you take a look at my Rottweiler puppy? So she does muscle testing and she finds out that she looks at me and she goes, "Okay, she's coming up for mercury in her joints." And I said, "Really? Well, where do you get mercury from?" Not dawning that it was the food that I was feeding. And she goes, "Well, what are you feeding her?" And I'm like, "Well, I am buying raw fish and I'm feeding her raw fish." And she goes, "That's good, but where is it coming from?" I said, "Well, Jewel." And she goes, "Is it farm raised or is it wild caught?" And I said, "Does it matter?" And she goes, "Yes." Said, "Oh, I don't know." And she goes, "It's probably farm raised is my guess." I said, "Probably." And she goes, "What else are you feeding?" "Well, I'm feeding blah, 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 and all this, and fish oil when I'm not giving her fish." And she goes, "Does your fish oil say mercury and lead free on the bottle?" I said, "Does it have to?" And she goes, "Yes." She goes, "Not," and I'm like, "Well, it's human grade. It's actually for people." And she goes, "That's great, but that doesn't mean it's quality and it can still have mercury and lead in it." I'm like, "But this is what they recommend for like pregnant women." And she goes, "I know exactly. This is why kids have a lot of issues now is because of the quality that the mom is eating." Said, "Oh, fudge." I said, "Well, I don't know." So I rush home and I look at the bottle of fish oil and sure enough, there's nothing that on the bottle of fish oil. Now it was Jules brand. I think it was Equate, I believe, and it didn't say mercury or lead free on the bottle. So I call up my mom, who's also on fish oil, and I ask her, "Does your bottle say mercury and lead free?" And I forgot which brand she got it. Maybe it was a Costco brand or Sam's Club. I don't know. But her bottle actually said it was mercury and lead free. I said, "Oh, interesting." I said, "Huh, that really is a thing." So I'm like, I guess the bottles do have to say mercury and lead free. Interesting. So then I started doing my own research, and sure enough, mercury can actually lead to arthritic like symptoms, joint pain and inflammation. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. So it took about 6 months of detoxing my puppy. And all of a sudden, the limping started decreasing. Wasn't away, it didn't go away completely, but it started decreasing. And then her joint pain was completely gone. And then I was like, oh my gosh. And then I started looking at all of the things that mercury can cause. And mercury can cause a lot of issues. And this is where I got into my own stuff because I had mercury fillings. And mercury can actually cause a lot of anxiety. Like I said, a lot of depression. It can cause a lot of even like hallucinations type things, a lot of mental health, like schizophrenia type issues. Um, Mercury can cause joint pain and inflammation. It can lead to headaches and migraines, and lead it can as well. So other toxins can as well too. So, and usually when you have one type of heavy metal, you can have others. Um, where else do we get mercury? It's not just from fillings. So it's actually in a lot of vaccines. So mercury can actually be in a lot of vaccinations. Um, and that can also cause a lot of issues too. So, and we know that the body can also produce a lot of extra fat. So, a lot of people who have tried dieting and exercising and they still cannot lose weight, a lot of times it can be from over toxicity in the body. Because what happens is when you have too many heavy metals or heavy chemicals roaming around your system, and because a lot of these heavy metals, including mercury, have an affinity to fatty tissue, the body actually produces extra fat to insulate and absorb the toxins to keep it away from your internal organs. So a lot of people that are extremely overweight, and not for lack of dieting or exercising, it can actually be because they have too many toxins in their system. So when I started getting into holistic health and looking for, you know, help for my own issues, so I had hormonal imbalances. I had a lot of skin conditions, I had a lot of health issues. And I started understanding that these mercury fillings were very, very toxic. Now, one of the problems so I was already on a detoxing program, but I didn't let and I was new at this, so I was still naive and I didn't really fully understand on how severe. And if anybody's had their amalgams removed and had a negative reaction, because they were not properly um, set up for it, please comment in the section. So this is what happened to me the first time. Okay. So I was seeing a holistic practitioner and I was getting muscle testing done. And I didn't really think that because I was already on a detox program, I didn't really let her know what was going on, that I was going to get my amalgams removed. So I didn't let her know. And when I went to go see the holistic dentist, she's just like, "Are you on a detoxing program?" I'm like, "Yes." And she's like, "Okay, good." And I got the mercury amalgams removed. And that night, my anxiety and depression went right through the roof to the point where I actually started having suicidal thinking. And the next day, I immediately called, my holistic practitioner, and they had to up my things to open up my drainage pathways. So what I mean by drainage pathways is you eliminate toxins through your kidneys, you eliminate toxins through your bowels, you eliminate toxins through your lymphatic system, but every single organ has to also be able to kick out toxins from itself, right? It's got to eliminate waste. So your heart has to eliminate waste from the cell. Your cells from your heart have to eliminate waste. Your um your liver has to eliminate waste. Not only that can it has to process waste that's in your body, but it also has to eliminate waste from its cells. So every single cell has to be able to detox on its own. So sometimes when we're overburdened with toxins, our elimination pathways can get clogged. Okay. So sometimes there's certain supplements and homeopathic remedies that can help open up drainage pathways. So whenever you do a heavy metal detox, you want to open up the drainage pathways. Okay. And you also want to prep the drainage pathways first. So before anybody decides to go get a mercury fillings removed, I recommend that they see a holistic practitioner that can help open up the drainage pathways and support those organs way in advance before you get your mercury amalgams removed, and then support the body afterwards. Okay. I didn't, I was doing a holistic, seeing a holistic practitioner, but I didn't let her know because a lot of times a week before you have the amalgams removed, a lot of times we will want to increase or add on certain supplements to prep the body specifically for the amalgam removal. So I might prep you for a good month or 2 months in advance and then really go hardcore that 1 week or 2 weeks before you get your amalgams removed. It depends on your body. And then see you almost immediately after you have your amalgams removed, either later on that day or the following day, because your program will probably change again. and we will have to actually increase your drainage and binders, things like charcoal and bentonite clay. We have some really good binders from Cellcore. We have some good binders from Systemic Formula, so we might use those. It really depends on the person's body. So these are really important for afterwards. And so I became very, very anxious, and I had to see my holistic practitioner because I wasn't prepped, and that was my own fault and my own doing. I wasn't prepped well beforehand. And so she added the appropriate supplements and doses on afterwards, and almost immediately I felt better. And it would have been 10 times worse if I wasn't already somewhat prepared for that. Because even though I wasn't on the right stuff, my body was already getting prepared to remove toxins and things like that. So, and that brings me to one of my patients. I had a patient several years ago. Oops. Oh, I don't know what happened. Huh, the cam stopped. So there might be a glitch. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened with that. For those of you on Facebook or YouTube. But anyway, I had a patient several years ago, and she was with me for several months, and she was doing really well. She did not let me know that she was going to get her amalgams removed. And again, like I said, some of her supplements, or I might add something else on to get her body prepared specifically for the amalgams, a week to 2 weeks before she has those removed. And she didn't let me know. And then she calls me the next day crying, hysterical because she was so miserable. And this was before I knew how to do what I do now, long distance. So using quantum nutrition testing, I can actually see patients virtually. At the time when this happened, which was several years ago, I did not know how to see patients virtually. So thank God she was local because that's all I could see was local patients at the time. Now half of my patients are across the country. And she called me up crying hysterically, and she said, "She's so swollen, she's so miserable." And I said, "What happened?" And she goes, "I got my amalgams removed. I got my silver mercury fillings removed." I said, "Oh my gosh." I'm like, I guess good on you getting that removed. But I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish you had let me know. And she goes, I didn't know I needed to let you know. And I'm like, it would have been nice. So I did a house call, and I actually saw her. And oh my gosh, I didn't even recognize her. She was so swollen. I've never seen somebody and if she had gone to the hospital, somebody would have put her on diuretics, and they would have tried, removing some fluid. I don't know what they would have done, but probably diuretics. I don't know if they would have done like a little bit of dialysis. I mean, she didn't have kidney failure, but sometimes they'll kind of help to remove fluid if it's really that severe, but they probably would have put her on diuretics. I mean, I didn't even recognize the woman. She was that swollen. Thank goodness her body had been somewhat prepped prior to that, not maybe as accurately or as well as it could have been because I didn't know about it, but it was very easy to undo what happened, and I forgot what she tested for. Maybe bentonite and maybe charcoal and some other things. I think those were 2 supplements, and I think I added several other things on too, and I can't remember because this was years ago. And, so I added some stuff on. I forgot how many supplements I actually had to add on to her. I muscle tested her to find out which one she needed, by the way. So it wasn't a random guess because each person is different. Like, I might test really well for charcoal. You might test really well for bentonite clay, or maybe you need a combination, or maybe you don't test for either one of those and you actually test for a product from Cellcore or from Systemic Formulas. So that's what's kind of unique about this is we can actually find out exactly which supplements is going to be the best one for you. And it literally takes the guesswork out. And so I muscle tested her, found out which ones were going to work for her. And within 24 hours, her swelling was down about 90%. So give or take. Like I said, I can't fully remember because it was so long ago. But, those were 2 really, really, between mine and her experience, and then I've heard horror stories from other patients, that had them removed before they came to see me, and so a lot of traditional dentists will just remove the amalgams, without any type of prep work, and you are just exploding your body with toxins. It really should be done with a holistic dentist, who is maybe it's called smart certified. Um, and then also seeing a holistic practitioner that can properly prep your body to get ready for getting the amalgams removed, and then the aftercare too. Like, so I just had my second set, which went so much more smoothly. I just had my second set of amalgams removed all these years later because I had such a bad experience. I was actually kind of nervous, to be honest, of getting the rest of my amalgams removed. And this time it went so much more smoothly, partly because I knew. And so I actually see somebody who muscle tests me. And so I knew how to prep myself. And then I just saw my practitioner today, and everything, all of my binders that I'm on. So almost basically doubled. So, and then she added some other things on to help support my body as well, and my teeth, because all of that heavy metal is sitting right here and in the rest of your body. So, I'm on so my supplements actually got changed up quite a bit. There's a lot of supplements that got added on, and a lot of my other supplements doubled in the amount, which I'm okay with because I know that what mercury can do if it sits in your system too long, it's not a good thing. So it's very, very toxic. So, but now that my body is less toxic from the mercury, and it'll take a little bit of time for my system to clean this up, and I'm okay with that. But overall, I'm very excited to see how much more my body can actually heal. Now that we're removing some chronic toxins that I'm chronically being exposed to, it'll be interesting to see, like, how overall inflammation kind of goes down in my body, and how much more my body can actually heal, because I feel pretty good, but there are things that are still kind of lingering. And now I'm excited for my body to kind of take the next level to total health. So mercury fillings can actually cause a lot of health concerns. They can lead to migraines. Okay, who has migraines? Migraines are horrific. Okay. Most patients, when a migraine starts, if they don't nip it in the bud, and even if they try to, sometimes it doesn't fully work. They'll take Imitrex or something along those lines, to help, stop migraines right in their tracks. And if that doesn't work, or they don't get to it fast enough, you guys are down and out for the count, and you guys are in bed for several hours to a couple days. And who's got time for that? You miss family functions. How many times have you had to not go to a family party, get together with friends, spend time with your kids, do work, call off because of your headaches or your migraines? Well, mercury fillings and mercury exposure can also lead to that, along with lead and some other heavy metals too. So point being, we want to get rid of the toxins. And can you do a heavy metal detox and still have mercury fillings in your mouth? Absolutely you can, and as you should. Will you be 100% if you still have mercury fillings in your mouth? No. Okay? So, yes, you would want to eventually get your mercury fillings out, but you will start feeling an improvement even before getting the mercury fillings removed. Okay. But to take everything to the next level, then eventually you would want to get those removed. So if you're in the area, I'm going to give a shout out to Dr. Raina. Um, her she is the holistic dentist that has been working on my mouth, and I refer most of my patients to her. So Dr. Raina is in Bolingbrook. Highly recommend her. I absolutely love her. Amazing, amazing dentist. So she's in Bolingbrook. If you are, regardless of where you live, if you would like help getting rid of toxins in your body, if you think that your mercury fillings are causing you some health issues, if you have anxiety, depression, headaches, migraines, and want to see if these toxins are affecting you and could be the underlying cause of why you have your symptoms, then give us a call. Okay. Our consultation is 2 appointments. All right. So the first appointment, they're both about an hour long. The first appointment, we discuss in detail what are your symptoms, what's going on with you. Okay. We listen to you very thoroughly. Okay. We ask in depth questions and we get to know you and your history case. Okay. So you get an hour of our undevoted attention. When was the last time the doctor has actually spent an hour with you to get to know and hear you and listen to you fully? Okay. Not most doctors are in and out very quickly. So we spend a full hour with you. Then we do a full scan on your body. Now, using quantum nutrition testing. Okay, quantum nutrition testing allows me to assess you without you actually being here in person. Now, if you live local and you want to come in person, great. If not, this still works. And if you're not sure how this works and want more information, you can call us. So, and I'll provide that number in just a minute. So that is the first appointment. Then I take everything home and put together a report. The second appointment, which is part of the consultation, is called the report of findings. That is also an hour long, and we answer all of your questions. We go over our findings and what our recommendations are, and we discuss the program. Yes, this is a program because don't think that you can just take one or two supplements and be done with it. It takes a lot of work and effort to get rid of parasites and heavy metals. It is not just a wham bam thank you type of ma'am thing. And you are not going to get done and get rid of all of your parasites in just a couple weeks. This is extensive. Okay. So during the second appointment, we will go over our recommendations, what the program entails, and the program costs. That is during the second appointment. Okay. And that is an hour long, and we will answer any questions that you possibly have. So it's literally two appointments with us in an hour each. Okay. If you would like more information, then please give us a call 708-554-6730. Would love to discuss this with you further and see how we can possibly help you on your road to better health. Have a good night, guys.